Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's so great to see everybody's smiling faces. Welcome to Ventura Center for Spiritual Living, where we are love, we share love, and we serve love. We're going to open today's service with our chant, I am so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Some of you may have noticed that we have a different piano player today. So everybody, this is David. Thank you so much for being with us today, David. Thank you. It can be a little daunting maybe to be dropped in like this, so thank you for being here. Now we're going to have Mr. Bill come up and with our youth and family message. You have any helpers today, Mr. Bill? We love Mr. Bill. Have any helpers?
I think I do.
I think we do.
You guys
Where are
coming
they?
up? Cool. I've got some extra microphones right there for you guys.
No, you can just leave it. You can just leave it. You can just leave it.
So like Reverend Jennifer said, I'm Bill Hadris with Youth and Family. And in Children's Church, we've been learning a little bit about our emotions. So we have some books on that, a little spot of anxiety. And so today, we're going to learn a little about it. 3 things. A little bit about our emotions. A little bit how to get back to that calm, peaceful spot. And then a way to find that calm, peaceful spot when things are really out of control. So let's see. This is your calm, peaceful spot. It's your natural state of being. This is anxiety. It pops up sometimes. It always sits in your mind and says, what if? What if? This is your angry spot. It pops up sometimes when you feel life isn't going as you expected. This one is your sad spot. It does show up sometimes when things seem to be going wrong. But we feel best when we are in our peaceful spot. So, here's some options for us. First one, when we're feeling one of those little worries or anger or sadness coming, I'd like you to look at your hand. Hold it up and imagine in the middle of it your nice, calm, peaceful spot. Now, imagine those worries that are coming up on the tips of your fingers. Got them? All right. Then we say, from the tip of my finger to the middle of my palm, I can do this. I can be calm. Okay? Then, if we got one of those big worries taking up our whole hand,
Slap
we
it.
say, no, we don't slap it. We take a look at it and we say, this worry grew too big and cannot stay. Take a deep breath and blow it away.
Wow.
So, one more time. Oh, there it goes. All right, one more time. We're going to imagine all those little worries on our hand and practice it again. Ready? Go. From the tip of my finger to the middle of my palm, I can do this. I can be calm. This worry grew too big and cannot stay. Take a deep breath and blow it away. And so it is.
Wait, we're going to sing now. Sing to you. Thank you guys for helping. Hey, you are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me.
You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
Thank
We're
you.
good. Thank you.
I got it. Wait, I'm not supposed to turn my back to everyone. Thank you. I love all of those messages that youth and family learns. Anybody want to just go with them? No. No, I'm staying. Right now, today, we have Mark, our almost licensed practitioner, almost doing the invocation. So.
I invite the practitioners and ministers to please stand to support this congregation. Taking a deep breath, feeling that presence inside. We know that there is one Lord, one God, one power, one infinite energy through us, permeates us in every cell of our body throughout this entire universe. And I know that I am one with that divine mind. And so I know that is true for each and every one of us who is gathered here today. There is only one divine mind. And I know that everything that happens in this service is blessed. I know that we are right here, right now, where we're supposed to be, listening to the divine wisdom, the energy, the love, the community that forms together in our life. And I am so grateful and so thankful for each and every one of us gathered here today and those watching online. I am so thankful for everything in our lives and what has brought us here today. I plant my word deep within the mystery of the law, knowing that it is already complete. And so it is.
Staying in this place of blessing, staying in this place of remembering, I invite Kim up here to do our sacred reading. So it's just staying in that moment, staying in this calm, sweet, gentle space.
You don't have time to meditate for an hour. By Dr. Nicole Perks. Prior to starting medical school, I meditated for an hour every morning. There's a Zen proverb that goes something like this. If you don't have time to meditate for an hour every day, you should meditate for 2. Before medical school, when I heard this quote, I would smile and nod wisely. When hearing this quote after just a month of medical school, I scoffed and shook my head in frustration. An hour every day was time I needed to travel, scarf down food, make some attempt at exercise, then of course to study. In my first year of medical school, my meditation routine dropped off to half an hour every morning. And in the second year, it was down to 20 minutes. I managed this if I wasn't on call or post-call until my first year of residency, when I fell off meditation altogether. A few months ago, I was visiting a friend who I respect for her calm, centered approach to daily life and her strength in the face of many adversities. I asked her how she did it. Her explanation began with the description of her new job, where she could actually leave work at the office. Her strength came from all the time she spent taking care of herself, her body, and her mind. Simple. So when my mom's health recently declined, I decided to take a leave of absence. Not just to help out with the care of my mom, but to take care of myself. My leave of absence allowed for the time I needed to look inward and to heal myself. Was able to meditate for that much needed hour every morning, journal, exercise, eat right, and do all the things that we tell our patients to do. Although I lost my mom, I've been able to deal with the peaks and the valleys of grief better than I could have imagined. Because a drop of stress does not feel like a downpour, because I have the time, the energy, and the awareness to address emotions as they rise. So is this the story of hope or despair? Or is it both? Do we all require a 6-week holiday once a year to prevent mental illness? How about a career change? That's even more unlikely given the blood, sweat, and tears we've all shed to get this far. Once again, I am left with that bloody proverb, insisting I find the time to meditate, to turn inward, to heal myself, to empty my cup, or however you want to describe it. And today when I hear it, I hang my head in humble acquiescence and smile. You got me, Zen proverb, you got me. I can't deny the truth of it any longer. 2 hours of straight meditation is never going to be a realistic option for any of us. But 5 minutes is.
So staying in this space, maybe we are not in a season of divine, opulent self-care, but we do have the divine and opulence of this moment, this few minutes of meditation, this few minutes to remember who we are as we sing our meditative chant, I am remembering.
I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering.
in this stillness, in this divine quiet, in this place of remembrance, allow yourself to come back to this space, opening your eyes, in love with what is as it is, and so it is. Thank you.
The secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. Any fool can do it. There ain't nothing to it. Nobody knows how we got to the top of that hill. But since we're all on our way down, you might as well enjoy the ride. The secret of love is in opening up your heart. It's okay to feel afraid, but don't let it stand in your way no longer, 'cause everyone knows that love is the only way. Since we're only here for a while, you might as well show some style. Give us a smile, isn't that a lovely ride? See me sliding down, gliding down. Try not to try too hard, it's such a lovely ride. The thing about time is that time isn't really real. It's all on your point of view. Oh, how does it feel for you in there? Einstein said that he could never understand it all. Planets spinning through space, the smile upon your face. Welcome to the human race. Isn't that a lovely ride? See me sliding down, gliding down. Try not to try too hard, such a lovely ride. No, 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 no. Isn't that a lovely ride? See me sliding down, gliding down. Try not to try too hard, such a lovely ride. The secret of life is enjoying the passage of time.
Whenever we have singers, I'm always like, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. You can't go wrong. That's James Taylor's song, and I'm a little older than Jade, but I love all those 70s singer-songwriters. So, oh, this is me. So for those of you who don't know or are new, I am Reverend Jennifer Gadberry Hadris. I am the assistant minister here and operations manager here at Ventura Center for Spiritual Living, in case you didn't know where you were. And luckily, Mr. Bill gave me the clicker. So for those of you who don't know, everybody always jokes, my background is chemical engineering. It was my original degree, and I'm a patent agent. So I tend to be a little bit more like I believe, logical and scientific, and I heard concrete is a bad thing to say. I'm a concrete person, but I don't know. Works for me. So anyway, so this month's book is The 5 Gifts of an Abundant Life. It's written by Reverend Diane Harmony. And so today I'm going to speak about T is for tithing. Woo. And I put in my notes, I just need to apologize to anybody who was kind of like me, who was like, hello, Reverend Bonnie talked about gratitude last week, and so this week should be I for intentions, because, gee. I'm going to let you know that the 5 gifts are not linear. They can happen, so we're just going to popcorn it, so we're going to talk about tithing today, because I can do what I want, because I'm up here. No. So just a quick, I want everybody to just shout it out. What does tithing mean to you? Anybody have any? Giving back. Okay, giving. There we go. 10% of your income, right? Anything else? Investing in what you want. Anything else? Help part, being supportive. There you go. You can come teach the sermon. So, giving is getting, right? There's that one too. Giving back to what feeds you. So I don't even have to do this talk, but no. So I was curious about, I was thinking, what is it, and I was thinking, well, it could be, I could get up there and I could do this. Can you all see that? Probably not. But my linear logical brain. So this says, cost of running this church for a year is this. Divide that by 52 weeks. That is what we need to bring in every week to make the church run. So then you take, what do I need to earn each week? And we count how many people are here. And that equals what we need you to give. There you go. So that's not what this talk is going to be. If you want to know those numbers, I can find them for you, because I like numbers too. But that's not what tithing is. And another fear, I think, that comes up for me in my background is, I was raised kind of Catholic, but I was really raised like anti-religion, anti-church, my parents were like, you don't trust those TV evangelists, and I watch enough docuseries right now, some scary stuff, right? So what is tithing? So, the singer-songwriters of the 70s have informed my life, and obviously the Muppets, and also South Park. This is for Brian out there. So in South Park, this little guy here, his name is Cartman, and he is always trying to find schemes to make money. And in this episode, his scheme was he was going to become a preacher. So sometimes, and so he's running around like this, and he's going, the Holy Spirit is telling me that the sinners need to put $1 in the box. And he's running around, put $1 in the box, put $1 in the box. So, and when I grew up, that was when people would say tithing. When I had friends that belonged to different denominations, where they were like, I have to take 10% of my allowance, and I have to take it to church on Sunday, and I have to put it in the church, and they just did it. They just did it. And I'm like, oh, I'm not getting my money. Like, I'm not going to church with you. I'm not bringing no money for that. Like, oh my goodness, no. And so that's the other concept of it, right? That it's very convenient to hear about the spiritual practice of tithing from the person that needs the money that you're giving, right? It's very convenient. It's like, if you're a little cynical or you run to skepticism, I think that's healthy, and it may not be serving you. So, it's like anything, right? Too much is too much, right? So, what does tithing actually mean? Now, we're going to go into this, but according to Reverend Diane Harmony, who wrote the book, Reverend Diane Harmony says, tithing means giving back to your spiritual source 10% of all you have been given. I was expecting a little bit more of like the air going out of the room when they saw that 10%. I think David kind of like helped to break that a little bit. Thanks, David, for cushioning that. 10%. I'm a numbers person. I'm like, what? 10% of my take home? She's like, no. In the book, too, she knows, it's like she's reading my mind, right? I'm like, 10% of my time? No, 10% of everything you are given. But notice that the word is given there, not earned. 10% of what you are given. I'm like, loophole. Because I earned this paycheck from my job. I wasn't given. And she gets rid of that loophole pretty quick, too. So, so let's just, if that bothers you, that 10% number, it's okay. We're gonna come back around and see if we fix it by the end of the talk here. If not, that's okay too. So tithing is an ancient practice. You hear it everywhere. I mean, it's like you've heard it. Even if you don't realize you've heard it, you've heard it. Even if you didn't go to school with kids that were like, I gotta take this money, So Leviticus. I'm going old school. I'm busting out the Bible, which for those of you who know my background, which I just shared, this is not my normal. And we're going to the Hebrew part of the Bible. So we're in Leviticus 19, number 19, 9 through 10. This is fun. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not wholly reap the corners of your field, nor shall you gather the gleanings of your harvest, and you shall not glean your vineyard, nor shall you gather every grape of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the stranger. Like, well, that's nice. Isn't that nice? And but it's even more ancient than that. Leviticus is pretty ancient, but it's even more ancient than that. So in her book, Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, she has a story in there that I love the whole book. If you're looking for a summer read, this book is wonderful, and the Audible book, she's a great reader. So in that book, she talks about a story of an engineering student from Europe is spending the summer with the Ojibwe tribe. You guys can tell me later. So I know I'm mispronouncing it, but he's spending. They're a Great Lakes tribe, and he's spending the summer with them. And they're harvesting right there. They're harvesting rice out of the Great Lakes, a natural. They naturally go through and they harvest the rice for their stores. And this sweet engineer, he's hanging out with them all summer, and he's loving the people, and he's loving his experience. And at the end of the summer, he goes, I love you all so much, and I want to gift you this design I have created that will allow you to harvest more efficiently. Because I've noticed that when we harvest, so much of the rice is just lost. You just lose the rice. It doesn't all get in your boat. It just goes out back in the water. And so I have made these designs. They're going to be really simple to implement in your boats. And this is so I'm gifting you this design I've been working on all summer, watching this waste. And the elders do what the elders do. They say thank you, and then they explain to him why he's wrong. And they explain to him that this harvesting technique has been the harvesting technique of that tribe as long as anyone could remember. And it's not waste. It may not be immediately efficient in a Western or in a modern construct and concept, in the modern farming technique. Even Leviticus's farming technique, where you have a field and that's even modern compared to the way where these folks harvest their rice. They're saying, we harvest this rice and we free some of it up, and then that rice feeds the ducks that's been freed up. It's easy because the ducks can't necessarily get to the rice when it's in the things as easily. So we're feeding the ducks, we're feeding the fish, we're reseeding next year's crop. So it doesn't look efficient when you look at just what's in the boat, but when you look at the practice of harvesting and the way that they practice it, it's exactly what they need to do. They give from abundance, right? They let it go. They don't need that part, and it goes to who needs it and where it's needed and where they are fed. They are feeding, right? They are feeding the lake system. They are feeding the environment because the environment feeds and takes care of them. So they're part of the natural order. So that's, to me, that's what tithing is. It's part of living in the natural order. It's part of being in it, in the world. So what happens to us, this is us now, right? This is us now. It's social media, it's TV, it's driving to get here, and I really like my modern comforts. I like my foam mattress that I sleep on. I like my house. I like that I have an Instapot that my husband makes me great food in. I really like my comfort. So I'm not gonna diss modernity. That's not, but this is what we're naturally supposed to be doing. Maybe not actually going out to the river. Sometimes I get that, like, I gotta go out to nature and hug a tree. I do that too, but this is what we're naturally meant here to do. And this is living in the flow. We are a flow. So money, energy, it's all God, it's all source, and we live in the flow of that source and all of that energy. So that's our natural state of being. So what tithing does, is it gets us into that practice. It takes us back into this, we're harvesting our rice, right? But we're not. The harvesting of our rice is our jobs or whatever we are gleaning from the planet. So what tithing does is it's a practice of remembering who our true source is. I always joke, like, every time I'm up here talking, I say the same things over and over. So it's okay, because I need a reminder. So remembering our true source. When Mark did the lovely invocation, we start with there is only one. There is one divine universe, one divine presence, one divine consciousness, one ultimate observer, depending on where you are on the understanding of how reality is. But there is only oneness. And then we are each individualized parts of the oneness, but we are still connected in that oneness. We are connected with the rivers and the trees and the computers and our neighbors and with everything. It's all one. So what happens is, as personalized emanations of the oneness right here, right now, we become divine circulators or stewards. I like the word steward. And I actually learned that from a Christian friend of mine who, when they talk about tithing, it's that I am given this gift, even if it looks like I earned it. I've given this gift because I was given the gift of being able to earn, however you want to reach that gift. But I've given this gift, and now I get to direct this gift where me and my consciousness wants it to go. Me and my consciousness, where I am spiritually fed, right? So I'm divinely circulating and guiding where I want things to be sourced. The tribe with the rice, they allow it to go back to where they're receiving it because that's what's feeding them, But a farmer might harvest some and put some seeds aside. You don't eat all of the almonds, right? You're going to grow some more from the seeds. So, so you direct the source. And we do all of that by releasing unnecessary fear. And I say unnecessary because I think there are fears that will pop up, and it might feel real, right? It's like, it might feel real. I have $0 in my bank account, Reverend Jennifer. Like, that's a real fear. That can be a real fear, especially when you had money in there and then you open it and it's like, it's all gone. Like, what happened? That's that fear that might pop up, and you don't have to shame yourself. I don't want to be like, you have no fear. It's like, you can have it, and then put it where it belongs. Help it direct you to where you need to be, or you can assess if it's a real fear or what. But use it. Don't shame yourself about your fears. Don't embrace them. I wouldn't. But use them as you need to. All right, that's a lot of. So, story time, because this is my favorite part of Witty Talk, is the story time. I have a really wonderful girlfriend from ministerial school. And when I met her, right after I met her, she was going through a process of adopting her foster son. It was a process of fostering this young man that was actually a friend of her daughter's and adopting him. And so he's, like 13, 12, 13. And so in the process of doing the fostering and the adopting, they moved houses. And they were trying they had all of the officials, right? The CPS officials and everybody going over, spot checking their house, and and she had 2 kids in the house already, and animals, and so they were getting inspected constantly. And then the people would pop up, surprise, like, we're here for a spot, and just to make sure you're not putting a shiny face on it. And she could be grateful for the system that's working, right? The system that is protecting her son. She could understand that cerebrally, but I think emotionally she was saying she felt very judged and attacked, and in a constant state of worry. So my friend's name is Katie, and she says, so all of this is happening, and one day she logs into her bank account, and there's nothing in there. She goes to her husband and goes, "What happened?" And he was like, "What do you mean? There's no," and it was, they didn't know. She had never had this happen in her life. Never. She used to have a $1 million a year company in the Bay Area back in the day. Like, money has never been an issue for her, ever. She was just kind of like, what is this? Like, we're eating ramen. Like, what's happening? And so she finds herself at a CSL, like one does, on a Sunday, after that, like CSL Monterey. And and she gave me a permission to share this story, so I'm not speaking out of school. But she says she's at church at CSL, and they go to hand around the basket, and she's like, I literally have no money in my bank account. She's like, I can't write a check. It's going to bounce. So she opens her purse, and she's like, what am I going to do? Like, I guess I'm going to pull out a gum wrapper and put it in there and pretend like I'm putting something in there, like, just so I, save face. And she opens her purse, and she sees a $2 bill in her purse. She had forgotten it was in there. She had tucked it in there. It was a gift from her mom. Her mom had given it to her like 20 years before, kind of on a whim, had given her this $2 bill. And then, like, a few months after the gift, her mom passed away unexpectedly. So she just held on to this $2 bill. She had this $2 bill, like I said, for over 20 years. It was the only thing in her purse. And she's like, all right, I don't want to put a gum wrapper, right? So she takes this $2 bill, and she puts it in the basket, and she says, all right, universe, I know you have me. I know you have me. And this is me telling myself that I know you have me. She puts the $2 in there. And of course, because I wouldn't tell the story if it didn't happen this way, by Friday, the money that was supposed to have been deposited for like a month, some snafu, so they got the month of deposits that was in the bank account so from Sunday to Friday. And I was like, and she realized, after speaking with all of us in ministerial school, we like it's like dream interpretation, when you have a realization of like, oh, what were your thoughts or whatever, and she realized that, like, being under scrutiny had really clamped her down. She was really protecting herself, really clamped down. The energy was not flowing, at all in her life. And the universe was like, here, I'll show you how you're not flowing, you're not living in the flow, and it was getting worse. So it's like, well, here we have a big example, something that she had never experienced before. You're not living in the flow. So, is it working? One of the things about our center and the tithing idea for me is that it doesn't just have to be about money. It really is living in the flow. Reverend Bonnie in her book talks about when you want something, you give something. When she was really feeling like she needed praise and acceptance, she went around praising and accepting people, and then all of a sudden, oh, look, it starts showing up in your life. So this can be about anything in your life. I'm going to talk about flow in a different way just because this is my go-to. So that's Mr. Bill. Back in the day, back in college, Mr. Bill and I met in college, and Mr. Bill right there, he wasn't Mr. Bill then, he was just Bill then. He was showing his parents this lab. So Bill and I met in college, we're both chemical engineers. We did this really grueling, gruesome summer session. We did 2 labs a week. Every lab we did was you would run these tests and these experiments and take all your measurements and write all your numbers down, and then you would prove all of the equations that you were using in engineering school, and you would prove all these equations that you would use for instrumentation. So this one is a pipe flow lab. And what's really cool, okay, I'm gonna geek out for just a second. I didn't draw the pipe diagram. I promise this isn't gonna be another 20 minutes on how pipes work, but I promise. But if you have a pipe, a length of pipe, and you have flow going through it, if you know certain parameters, you can take 2 measurements, 2 pressure measurements from here and here, and you can tell what your flow rate is, right? You can use this for anything, but right, no, you can't. But so you run this experiment, and this lab was supposed to be cake. I'm in field session. It's a cakewalk. This lab is so easy. All these other labs are really hard, and and the equipment would fail, or you drop things, or you get covered in glycol, like all of it. This one is like you're running water through some pipes, and you're writing down the pressure readings. Cake. My group and I were doing this lab, and we go in there, this lab is cake, and we run it, and we look at our numbers, and we put in our laptop, and we aren't getting the curves that we're supposed to be getting. They don't look right. And one of my lab partners was the smartest kid in the class. You know, if you didn't know it, he would tell you. So I'm the leader, but I'm looking at him going, why is this not working? And he's like, oh, you're the leader. I'm like, so we do it again, and we do it again. And everybody else that are running all the other labs, they're leaving for the day, and they're looking at us like, why are you guys having so many problems? Like, that's cake. And I'm like, I know, we're doing it. So finally, we get kicked out of the lab. We can't do anymore. We have crap data. It was awful. I still remember it almost 30 years later. That's how awful it was. And I take it to my instructor, and I'm like, why? What happened? Like, you know, and he's like, I don't know. Like, it's cake. You guys are really smart. I don't understand why this isn't working. And when I flip my lab book around and I show him, and I look it down, I go, oh. And he goes, oh, what? I'm like, we never changed the outlet valve on this flow experiment. We changed all the inlet valves, but we never changed the outlet valve. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's why that one thing screwed up the whole lab. I got a B in that summer session because of that one freaking valve. So just goes to show you learn more from your mistakes. Stupid B. No, but so if something isn't working, you know, if you're like, okay, I followed the exact formula, you know, I'm doing all of these things, and it's not working for you, you know, it might be one thing. And so what is that one thing? So here, we're going to do a life laboratory. Sometimes that's how I feel when life is like, like, oh, I don't think I want to do this. Yeah, but you do. It's going to be fun, I promise. So the life laboratory for tithing, maybe, is we're going to release our fears daily, hourly, whatever works for you. Remember, breathe. The universe has got me. That's my friend Katie, right? Okay, universe, I know you've got me. Or the universe has got me. Or God is my source and supply. Whatever it takes to take that deep breath in, and whatever comes to you, it can just be a feeling. I think that the feeling is the most important thing. That feeling of, I am safe. I have supply. There's nothing taking from anything that I have. I am just diverting energy. So releasing that fear. And from that released fear place, make a plan. Diane Harmony, she talks about, where you're spiritually fed. And she has examples of where you aren't spiritually fed, and I take umbrage with them because I think that where you're spiritually fed is up to you. It could be here. It could be a class. It could be a teacher. It could be a practitioner. It could be a yoga instructor. It could be a friend that you realize that you keep calling. Whenever something comes up and you have that one friend. You have that one friend that you're like, we're just going to go to the beach, and I just like to just be in your energy. So make a plan of where you want to tithe, and part of that plan is really noticing what buoys you up, what makes you say, yeah, those fears are unnecessary. Where do you get that message, and where do you get that feeling? And then consistency. Like every practice. Anybody do a yoga class and be like, oh, there, I'm done. Just me? or anything, right? The new eating, I'm not going to call it a diet, but, new eating plan. And I did it for a week, and now I'm done. Like, no, you have to do it for best results, consistently. So, once a week or once a month or whatever you need to do. And then remembering, who is the tithing for? Who is the tithing for? And those first examples, the tithing would be for who you're giving it to, right? Or even the examples of the tithing's for VCSL. Yes, kind of, no. The tithing is for you. It is your practice. When you go to yoga, is the yoga practice are you there for the instructor? Maybe. If the instructor's a really good friend and you're doing, I'm beeping up your numbers. But the tithing is for you. It is your practice. It is to help you remember who you are. It's for you to remember where you're spiritually fed. It's for you to expand your consciousness. It's for you to release those fears. All of those things. The tithing is for you. And quick shout out, I know a lot of people in here are already tithing. And I noticed when I started working on this to revisit. Anybody have a subscription, maybe a gym memberships? I know somebody just released their gym membership recently, or Hulu or Netflix, or I don't know, any of those subscriptions. You get them, and you might forget you have it. And you don't realize the money, right, that goes into. I know, like my Netflix subscription, it's like, here's another $1, here's another $1, here's another $1. He's like, oh, and it just automatically comes out of your account, and you don't even notice it, and it's just part of the wallpaper. One of our new technology extravaganzas is that we don't have to write checks here. We can just automatically tithe online, And so if you do that, remember what you're doing. It's because it's easy to forget. It becomes part of the wallpaper. I give through Servant Keeper here. So when my tithe goes in through Servant Keeper, I get a note back, and it says, thank you. And so what I started doing, playing with this idea, is because it sounds like, you read the email, and it sounds like VCSL is thanking Jennifer and Bill for their for their donation. And what I like to think of is it's Jennifer saying thank you to the universe for being my constant supply. See how it just shifts a little bit. So whenever you hear a thank you, whenever you're saying thank you to somebody, it could be kindness or whatever, remember it's the universe is saying thank you for. So just shifting that. And then if you do hit those troubled spots, when you're like, this is supposed to be easy, and it's not, go ask a trusted advisor. And a trusted advisor could be that friend that you hang out at the beach. It could be a practitioner. It could be a minister. ask your trusted advisor. You can take your lab book, which might look like a journal or might just look like you talking, whatever. And you might find that when you're talking to the person, you might find that when you flip it over to show them all of your things, you might realize, oh, I was giving from a place of fear here, or oh, I was a little tight here. So ask your trusted advisor. So, I don't know. Always remember, it's not about the money. I mean, I like money, I do. But it's not about the money. It's about the energy. It's about your consciousness. It's about the flow. It's about giving what you want to receive. It's all of those things. And the most important thing is to have fun. So with that, we're going to have a closing affirmation from the book. This is from Reverend Diane Harmony. Let's read this all together. I am an infinitely prosperous emanation of God, and God is my one and only source of all supply. And so it is. Thank you. We're going to have Lonnie come up. Thank you. Oh, did I forget to pray? I guess I should pray. I should probably pray. Yeah, David. He's like, I think I'm supposed to. When in doubt, just play the piano. You're awesome. So taking a deep breath in and just anchoring into this message, anchoring into the joy and the fun that this life is, anchoring into the source of all that is, knowing that there is that one divine source in everything as everything, knowing that one divine source is my life right now, knowing I am united with that one source, and knowing that truth for everyone here, everyone that's hearing my voice, everyone that's watching later, hearing this prayer, everyone not even hearing this prayer, we are all unified in that one divine love. And from this place, I know that we are blessed. I know that our lives are blessings. Our lives are this joyful, abundant, fun experience that we get to have. This gift of life is a blessing. And I bless all humanity, all paths to God, be it learned in a temple, learned in a Gurdwara, learned in an ashram, learned in a church, learned in a spiritual center, that we are all blessed divine beings having this very human experience. And I'm grateful to know that truth, grateful to remember that God is all there is, and I plant my word in the universal law, and together we say, and so it is, so it is. Thank you. You can laugh at me.
No, thank you, Jennifer. When you were asking about tithing, is like what came to mind for me was joy. And I learned that from Doreen in my very first class here at VCL, which was financial freedom. And, it's such an amazing thing to think about tithing in a different way. It's an investment. I mean, if you look around this morning, we all created this beautiful service. The talent, the music was an investment. And their generosity blessed us. And as we look at the backpacks that we're collecting for the children, again, there's generosity that blesses us. So I just invite you this morning to make your offering something personal, that it is your investment into our community of goodness, and that it truly does bless many together. And we do that together there. So this morning, as we prepare our offering, I invite you to place it over your heart, and we'll do the blessing together. We trust in spirit. Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are. We offer these gifts. They are an outer expression of our inner abundance and compassion. Our gifts bless many and return to us multiplied in miraculous ways, so that we may give again. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Lonnie.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, they're only illusions. Rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers and Lenny and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning stars? Somebody thought of that and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers and Lenny and me, the lovers and Lenny and me.
Linny, making her VCSL debut. Thank you very much. Hi, you gonna come up? You gonna come up? Come up, come up. So I'm gonna invite the practitioners and Linny to come down with me. You notice we didn't do announcements. So if you missed the slideshow at the beginning, please go see the concierge in the social hall. If you're online, check our website, VCSL or VenturaCSL.org. Oh, I can't talk right now. So, and sign up for our newsletter if you want to be kind of kept in the loop. I love her. I think we should just have her every week. So I'm going to invite the practitioners that are going to do 1 minute miracles down here. That's the other option is if you want to talk to a trusted advisor, we have our practitioners that are willing to pray with you. We call it 1 minute miracles. And just taking a moment as everybody comes down, two things I'd like to mention. Some of you might notice, especially in the social hall, that the church got a deep clean yesterday. So we had a building appreciation day, tons of volunteers yesterday. So thank you everybody that showed up yesterday. Lots of dusting. And then also, as we go into our closing affirmation, I would just like to note that yesterday there was a tragic shooting. And it's times like this and news like that, when you see it, that I think is really when this is important, when having this spiritual anchor is important. And when you see things like that come up, we can't just put our head in the sand on everything. I know that sometimes I do a news fast, but that's not always tenable. So just remembering when these things happen and these things come up, and maybe you're on social media and you have friends on both sides saying terrible, awful things, just remember the truth of who they are, the truth of who you are, and the truth of what the world really, really is. And I hope that these spiritual messages and you use these spiritual teachings and practices to buoy your energy up and to keep you centered. So in that space, let's do our closing affirmation. That's going to pop up on the screen. Any second. There we are. Thank you. So today we choose to be love, to share love, to serve love. Thank you for our lives, and so it is. And so it is. Namaste, everybody.